since Resident Evil 7 and 2 remake, I this I hated zombies a little less. I guess I just hate the gore factor. Some people might like the gore factor, but they're second ahead. I mean, I am second ahead, but not as sick as those guys. But what I like most, ever since Resident Evil 2, there has been a few times where I just like to look up the outbreak scenes where an apocalypse or an attack is occurring because of a disease, and there are zombies or infected people attacking, and it's up to some of the characters to escape while there are others dying and transforming in the background. I just kind of like the chaos of it. Aside from the gore factor, which I had to look away and stuff, I just like the attack scenes when it starts. And today we're going to be looking at the top 10 deadliest video game outbreaks.
Happening now is obviously terrible.
No
but
crap.
At least we don't have to deal with literal zombies and mutants.
No shit!
And today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 deadliest video game outbreaks.
Seems like he had a way of IDing who's symptomatic. But what was he trying to say?
For this list, we'll be looking at the most destructive outbreaks of viruses, parasites, and bacteria seen in video games. Number 10, the Rat Plague, Dishonored.
He swarmed over the myths of nightmares. No one would be safe. But he wasn't careful. A gift so powerful can be taken away as easily as it is given.
This 2012 action-adventure game follows a former bodyguard framed for the murder of his empress. If that wasn't bad enough, there's a catastrophically deadly virus sweeping through the poor community. By the time the game begins, half the citizens of the fictional Dunwall have already been wiped out. The Rat Plague, also known as the Duma Panacea, causes the body to simply fall apart before taking the host's life. It produces a hacking cough, weight loss, discolored skin, and bloody discharge from the eyes. Worse even still, it was introduced via the rats by the city's spymaster as a way to end poverty. While a cure exists, it's made so luxuriously expensive that no one who has the plague could afford it anyway.
How you use what I have given you falls upon you, as it has to the others before you.
Number 9, Carabacterium, Subnautica.
Oh! I got that game because I was interested in... I didn't record. Gosh darn it. Sorry about that. But Subnautica, I just got that game last month because I was interested not in the underwater aspects, but you have to craft stuff to survive, and there is a story behind it. You just have to dig deep into the world, and you have to combine some items and search deeply. I like this because of the explorable survival aspects. But yeah, there is sort of an outbreak. That's actually a plot point later on in the game.
30 seconds.
It's not as famous as the other entries on this list, but alien bacteria should never be underestimated. This 2018 open-world game follows the lone survivor of an expedition to planet 4546b. As you explore its depths, you find you're far from the first being to visit. Among various wildlife, the planet is home to a fatal bacteria that was brought there 1,000 years prior. The precursor race was in search of a cure before they themselves were decimated. And information you find points to a kill count of over 143 billion. The bacteria starts by shutting down the immune system before the infected turn aggressive, growing large green cysts on the skin that overtake the body. It's a good thing that you find a cure. Number 8, vocal cord.
Yeah, something I've been wondering. Yeah, I've heard that the creatures can be aggressive and whatnot, but those guys don't seem to be attacking me. I mean, I never picked up the ones with the green stuff because, let's face it, it's bad. But Yeah. Anyway, Subnautica is a pretty good game. And I find myself replaying it over and over lately. A few times.
Parasite. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
That's code talker. Look familiar?
While the Metal Gear series is filled with absurd concepts, the use of parasites that can spread through a specific language is a whole new level of absurdity. The parasites can be attuned to any language. They're ingested in larva form, growing and feasting on the vocal cords whenever the host speaks the specific language. After death, the host reverts to a zombie-like state and begins spreading the parasite to others. The game's villain Skullface attempted to use an English strain of the parasite to wipe out nations that had English as their first language. Though he was thwarted, an outbreak of the parasite occurred twice at Mother Base, with the second wave in particular resulting in one of the franchise's most harrowing moments. Number 7. Corrupted Blood. World of Warcraft.
So far, we're not having any zombie apocalypses yet.
Released less than a year after World of Warcraft, the Zul'Gurub update caused an entirely accidental outbreak. The first 20-level raid dungeon was meant for higher-level players as it culminated in a tough-as-nails boss fight. One of the things this boss could do was infect players with corrupted blood, a status effect that dealt heavy damage over a certain amount of time and could spread to nearby players. While it was only intended to appear here, Blizzard didn't account for pet companions. The effect would pause after dismissing a pet, and summoning them elsewhere caused the virus to spread. Low-level players died instantly, as did NPCs, making the game virtually unplayable until Blizzard implemented a patch. Number 6. Rustlung.
Wow.
Gears of War series.
That is one of our first successful hybrids.
Hybrid.
Yes, pirate.
You mean a locust?
While there are many strains and outbreaks related to this disease, its worst case proved catastrophic. Rustlung comes from prolonged exposure to emulsion, a highly volatile fuel source found on the planet Sera. It became common in miners, resulting in a persistent cough, reddish-brown phlegm and vomit, chest pain, body decay, hemorrhaging, paranoia, and aggression. It could also lead to lamancy, an ever-changing and literally explosive mutation. Research into a cure only made things worse. Genetic experimentation on the children of those with Rustlung eventually led to the creation of the Locust Horde, which then led to all-out war. While it provided terrifically violent gameplay, it's undoubtedly a worst-case scenario for an outbreak.
Now they're spreading across Sera, killing everything in their path.
Number 5. The Green Poison. Tom Clancy's The Division series.
What you're looking at is the smallpox virus. It normally takes 1 to 2 weeks for it to incubate in a host, and it's not contagious while it's doing so.
In terms of villainous master plans, it's hard not to be impressed with this one's inciting incident. In order to stop the planet's increasing population size, Dr. Gordon Amherst developed a super strain of smallpox with an incredibly short incubation period and a mortality rate of 80 to 90%. He released it in one of the most populated areas, New York City, on one of the busiest days of the year, Black Friday. By sending out contaminated bills, Amherst ensured the green poison would spread to most citizens at an immense speed. This also caused an outbreak of criminal activity within the quarantine zone as experts desperately searched for a cure. But with the traces of 6 different pathogens, it was able to adapt against most antibodies.
Thanks to you, we have mapped the genetic drift on green poison. Plus, I have ID'd all the aftermarket DNA Amherst bolted onto it.
Number 4. The Haran virus. Dying Light.
You still have some firecrackers, don't you? Just throw some into the crowd. Those dead bastards are easily distracted.
There are a lot of explanations for zombies. In this open-world survival horror game, they come from a mutation of rabies, which actually makes them a lot more aggressive than normal. It isn't a quick turn either. Infected will often experience seizures, causing exhaustion and blurred vision. Luckily for the player, the virus is light intolerant, but an extra amount of caution needs to be taken when venturing out at night. The virus is named for the fictional Middle Eastern city in which it breaks out. And while the game ends with the virus still contained, the upcoming sequel makes it clear that it spreads to the rest of the world. Things are about to get a lot worse.
Who will receive the antazine? Who has a hope of living through this encounter? It's up to you now.
Switch to Sprint and get 4 lines of unlimited for just $100 a month. Plus, we're throwing in 4 Samsung Galaxy phones on us. And now, Sprint customers enjoy expanded roaming access on the T-Mobile network.
Number 3, the T-Virus, Resident Evil series.
Ah, here we go.
You bastard!
Also known as the Tyrant Virus, this biological weapon is one of the most famous in gaming. It was developed by the Umbrella Corporation, who extracted a virus from a rare African flower and combined it with leech DNA to create something horrific. When infected, the T-Virus devours the host's cells and mass reproduces. This leads to the host behaving animalistically as they've lost all higher brain functions. And that's just a scientific way of saying that it turns them into a brain-hungry zombie. The T-Virus has been the instigating factor in many Resident Evil games. The power-hungry people behind Umbrella and sales of various strains on the black market have made sure that it will never truly go away. Number 2, Cordyceps brain infection. The
This
Last
is
of Us
not a good
series.
one.
We've received reports that victims afflicted with the infection show signs of increased aggression.
In 2013, a parasite fungal outbreak caused 60% of the world to die or turn into rage-filled nightmare creatures. 20 years later, and with no sign of a cure, humanity is on its last legs. Based on a real fungus, the Cordyceps brain infection grows on the host's brain. Those infected go through several stages, each more disturbing than the last. Stage 3 infected, also known as clickers, develop echolocation due to the massive fungus growing out of their eyes. At stage 4, the fungus has spread to the rest of the body, leading to massive growths that can be torn off and used as grenades. Unlike other zombie-like viruses, CBI has a mind of its own, and that's all the more terrifying.
It's 3 weeks old.
No, everyone turns within 2 days, so you stop bullshitting.
It's 3 weeks. I swear.
Before we unveil our number 1 outbreak, here are a few honorable mentions.
A robot infection that kills robots?
Genophage saved lives, war would have ended.
So you're willing to sterilize a species based on the evidence of a few simulations?
Yes.
There are now more than 200 areas of the Earth affected by Tiberium deposits.
When I mentioned that we could put him on the priority list for the Ambrosia vaccine, he was so willing it was almost pathetic.
This plague, the rioting is intensifying to the point where we may not be able to contain it.
Why contain it?
Want more video game content? Check out our gaming channel Mojo Plays and discover series.
There's a lot of things being ripped off in this game.
Number 1, The Flood, Halo series.
Halo doesn't kill Flood. It kills their food.
Humans, Covenant, whatever. We're all equally edible.
When talking about video game outbreaks, it's hard to top the extragalactic parasite that has wiped out multiple species and almost the whole universe. The Flood works incredibly quickly, immediately controlling the nervous system of any host it infects. The more it spreads, the smarter it becomes as every infected life form becomes a part of one hive mind. It can even bring dead hosts into the fold. This provides a variety of monstrous forms the Flood can take. Halo isn't an inherently scary game, but watching a horde of Flood life forms swarm a platoon before you fight them off alone just showed how ruthless and terrifying this parasite really is. And that was just the beginning.
Noble Hierarchs, surely you understand that once the parasite attacked,
There will be order in this council.
In the mood.
So Halo got started because of an outbreak. Good to know, but I'm still not gonna play it. But yeah, when I think of outbreaks, I think of a disease that's starting to spread. I think of the beginning. The disease has spread. People turn into zombie-like people. And it starts to spread. Like, the beginnings of the outbreaks, zombie outbreaks, I really enjoyed those because it has some of the it has people running and infected trying to spread the infection. I kind of enjoy those. I mean, the only downside is the gore factor, but yeah. The past me from before 2019 and 2018 would just hate outbreaks because of the gore factor and the zombies and whatnot. But nowadays, I can kind of appreciate the outbreak scenes, most particularly the beginning. Oh, how times have changed and how Resident Evil changed me. Anyways, that's all for today. Please consider liking and subscribing if you like what you see. And have a good day or night and take care.